This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, August 26, 2025. Presidence's routine. Information got Office 2200. Bottom line up front. Trump doubles down on Chinese student expansion as researcher in Texas is charged with stealing secrets for China. Wave of fake active shooter reports sweeps through American institutions. Syrian migrant who attacked American in Dresden released from custody but rearrested after public outrage. Beginning with international events, in Germany, following Sunday's knife attack in Dresden, one of the individuals involved in the attack of an American tourist was released from jail. Sunday morning, 2 illegal immigrants from Syria were harassing 2 women on a tram in Dresden. John Rudet, an American tourist visiting the city, intervened during the altercation and was stabbed in the face by one of the assailants, resulting in extremely severe lacerations. The other assailant, not the man who stabbed Rudet but a different attacker, was captured while trying to escape but was released from custody yesterday, only to be rearrested after public outrage pressured the prosecutor's office to act. The man who stabbed Rudet remains at large. On the home front, in the United States, over the past few days, many different universities and institutions have been the victim of hoaxes which have taken the form of someone calling in a fake active shooter threat. What began as 1 or 2 reports has spread to about a dozen different institutions. Analysts comment. Right now, it is not known who is calling in these fake reports, but extreme caution is warranted. The theories of why this is happening vary widely, but this could also be a desensitizing effort that precedes a legitimate attack at some other institution. As such, vigilance is recommended to avoid slipping into complacency, just in case this turns out to be a legitimate threat at some point. In Washington, D.C., President Trump and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick have doubled down on statements supporting the import of 600,000 Chinese students, further reiterating the intent to stick to this policy at present, with President Trump stating multiple times that he is, quote, honored to have these students taking up seats at American universities. In Texas, yesterday afternoon, Dr. Yunhai Lee, a researcher at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, was formally charged with stealing roughly 90 gigabytes of research material. Lee was arrested on Friday before attempting to board a flight to China after uploading the stolen research data to a Chinese government cloud storage platform. Lee had personally been granted both NIH and Department of Defense grants to conduct undisclosed research. In Maryland, the first human case of New World screwworm was reported by the CDC yesterday afternoon, which was contracted by a person who traveled to El Salvador. The USDA has stated that this case doesn't pose any threat to livestock at present. However, a 20-mile surveillance zone has been established around the individual's location as a precaution. In California, more details have come to light regarding a car fire that was reported at the Humboldt County Courthouse in Eureka over the weekend. Local authorities have stated that a man drove his vehicle onto the lawn of the courthouse before setting the car on fire. Analysts comment. So far, this incident appears to be an elaborate form of protest, though at present no clear ideology could be discerned from the evidence at the scene. Some people report that they saw various messages written in chalk on the sidewalk, and that handwritten papers were found scattered about the scene. All of this points to this being more of a mental health incident than anything else at this time. In North Carolina, the victim of a murder on the Blue Line rail system in Charlotte has been identified as Irina Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee. Zarutska was stabbed to death on the train by DeCarlos Brown Jr. on Friday night. In Minnesota, the Rochester City Attorney's Office has made the decision to charge Shiloh Hendricks with 3 counts of disorderly conduct. The individual who harassed her and her child has not been charged. Analyst comments for this wire. As a reminder, Hendricks was the individual at the center of social tensions a few months ago for her statements during a playground altercation. However, as time went on, this became a much larger issue than a woman using bad words in public. Her accuser, the man who filmed the viral encounter, was eventually identified as Sharmake Bele Omar. Omar had previously been arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a child in 2022. More specifically, the initial criminal complaint in that case stated that Omar and another assailant lured a child away from her foster home to conduct the attack. Sometime later, all charges were inexplicably dropped against Omar, and he was let out of jail without any explanation given. The victim was never identified or heard from again. As such, when the Hendricks story first broke into the news cycle, the focus remained on Hendricks, but the biggest story was why Omar was in the park in the first place. It turns out that what began as a story about bad words being said on the playground ended up exposing a sick freak trying to target children once again, and the deliberately negligent criminal justice system who let him go in the first place. The same justice system which is now targeting Shiloh Hendricks. It might not seem to be important to be aware of these types of events, but this is why this story matters. It's not just a question of free speech. It highlighted how governments are releasing criminals to terrorize the citizenry and actively supporting the dregs of society as they continue to to harm others. Considering the recent focus on society's most vulnerable being routinely targeted, this situation has the potential to flare up again, especially as recent events in the realm of politics have not really improved relations among a population which is growing ever more disenfranchised with the current state of their society. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, August 26, 2025.